So welcome everybody. We're so glad to have you with us. I'm Sarah Brown with the Arizona Daily Star, and I am joined by my editor, Kurt Prendergast, the editor of the Opinion Pages. Hello, Kurt. And we have some really great guests today. We are talking everything local today. So we're going to get the inside scoop on how to get the best of everything local. So today we have with us Bobby Johnson, who is the co-founder of Yocal. So that's Yocal, to make sure that we say that and spell that correct. And then we are also joined by Kim Johnson, who is the community director of Yocal. So we're not only talking about Yocal today, but we're also talking about Keep Local Alive, which kind of seem to cross, paths, but are also two, separate platforms. So welcome to both of you. And so I'd like you both to just kind of introduce yourself a little bit, and then we'll get into chatting about that. You both should be able to unmute yourself, but if not, I'll ask you to unmute. But also for all of those that are joining us today, please feel free to either raise your hand virtually or otherwise, and we will try to call on you and ask your question to Bobby and Kim. Or please also take advantage of our chat feature, and we'll be keeping an eye out for that, and I'll ask those questions to Bobby and Kim. So if you guys want to go ahead and take it away and introducing yourselves a little further, and we'll go from there.
All right,
Bobby,
Kim.
go ahead.
Go.
We both try to pass it off to each other. Okay, so my name is Kim Johnston, and I started as an ambassador on Keep Local Alive, which is our Facebook group page. And I kind of got connected to it from my own small business. I have a home bakery here in Tucson called Butter and Flour Pies. And from there, I really just enjoyed the network and got more and more involved. And now I kind of crossed over to the other side into Yocal.
Great. And that just sounds delicious, like the name of your business. I'm like, what a great advertisement there. I'm like, it makes you want something baked and good.
It just tells you right there. It just tells you what's in there.
It does. All the good ingredients right there.
Yeah.
And Bobby?
Yeah, so I'm Bobby Johnson. I co-founded Keep Local Alive, which is a Facebook group that we've launched in 68 cities across the country. And I'm also co-founder of Yocal, which is a technology platform that has multiple layers that's really designed to help bring local-minded consumers and local businesses together through technology. And we're doing some things that haven't been done before that need to be done to help these businesses survive and thrive. So yeah, pretty excited about it. We're launching Yocal in 2 communities. We're launching in Omaha, Nebraska, because that's where I'm originally from. I was born and raised there. And we're launching it in Tucson, Arizona, which people are like, Tucson, Arizona, how'd you end up in Tucson? Well, anybody that spends any amount of time out there in Tucson understands that you guys are a hyper-local community, and you really, really take a vested interest in your local businesses. And we recognized that early on and knew that this would be a good fit. So, and the group took off, and we have people like Kim helping us out there. So we knew it'd be a great thing. So yeah, that's me.
Okay, great. Well, thank you both so much for that. So let's delve a little bit more into, first off, you talked about Keep Local Alive, and this question is for both of you, so feel free to chime in as you like. So with Keep Local Alive, let's first explain for some that aren't really familiar with what it is, but also you had mentioned it was in 68. So tell us kind of how it got its start, and, just tell us a little more in depth what it is and why we need to be taking advantage of that platform.
Yeah, so let me tell you a quick story. So my business partner, Dave Loveland, and I met at another technology company about 6-7 years ago. And we have this technology. We do digital loyalty and tax rewards platforms for small businesses. We had about 800 customers in 4 cities down throughout the South. Well, long story short, Dave and I kind of uncovered this little gold nugget in our technology that allowed us to do these cross promotions via these text rewards platforms, basically taking one loyal customer from a business and giving them an incentive to go check out another business. And it went viral on us. So Dave and I made a gut-wrenching decision to go start our own company and do this on our own because we had the technology, we knew how to do it. That's the good news. The bad news is our timing was really bad. We launched that on March 1st of 2020. Yeah, we're like not good timing, but the good news is that's how Keep Local Alive was born. Dave and I put our business aspirations aside and said, we can't sit back and not do anything. So let's go start a movement. So we started Keep Local Alive, and we introduced these Facebook groups and recruited people locally to kind of jump in and take over. And the whole idea behind Keep Local Alive, especially during COVID, but even more so now, is it's all about educating and motivating, because you guys have all heard this before. There's just too much lip service given to support local. People need to take action and need to understand that it really makes a difference where you spend your dollar every day. And by choosing to support independent businesses in your community, more of that dollar recirculates through the community. So yeah, we started those Keep Local Alive. That's about 21 months ago, and we launched it in 68 cities. I think we're at about 160, 170,000 people in these groups. There's about 16,000 in the Tucson group, and it's all about banding local-minded people with locally owned independent businesses and shouting them out, supporting them. So yeah, it's been fun. Been
So
a lot of fun.
Dave, tell them why exactly it was 68 cities, because 68 is a pretty specific number, right? So there is a story behind that as well.
And Kim, I'm not Dave.
Oh my goodness, I'm so sorry. I talked to Dave so much. This is Bobby, by the way, guys.
Yeah, Dave's my business partner. Dave's not here.
Okay.
That's all right. We just thought you were going to come out with another persona. That would just
Hang on
be even more interesting.
Hang on a second. Let me put a different hat on. I think, Kim, your question was how we ended up on 68 cities.
Yes, like why did you go with 68? Because it is a very specific number, right? It's not 65,
Yeah,
it's not 70.
It is, depending on the data that you look at, but it's roughly in this area. For every dollar that a consumer spends at a locally owned independent business, meaning the owner actually lives in the community, about 68 cents of that dollar stays in the community and recirculates. Whereas that same dollar spent at a chain or a franchise, only about 14 cents stays in the community. And not that there's anything wrong with Amazon, but when you order online, only about a couple cents stays in the community, recirculates. So that's why we kind of settled on, we're going to do this in 68 cities. So thank you for asking me that question, Kim.
Yes,
I
of
love your
course.
segues.
Thank you. That's what I'm here for. Not going to talk
Sure.
much, but I'll definitely segue you into things.
Oh, no, please talk. We want to hear from both of you. So I know, like myself personally, when I stumbled, across Keep Local Alive, I loved it. I'm not like a huge fan of Yelp or, other sites like that, because I don't know, they just functionally, they irritate me. That's a total
Right.
personal thing. But what I loved about it is, like, hey, the other day I came across this. I'm looking for some new, dress clothes for my husband. And, we went to where we always go, Kohl's, or we go here, we go there, just because those are our defaults of what we know. And I was like, first off, there was nothing there. It was weird. Like the shelves were empty. But I was like, where do we go? So I was like, I'm going to go ask Keep Local Alive. So, so I put a post on there and I was like, what local, mom and pop shops, what local businesses. And what I loved is the responses that I got. I had never heard of these places.
Right.
I would have never thought to go to them, but not only was I told of a place to go, but I was kind of given a recommendation along with it, which I liked. And so that's kind of the thread that I'm seeing on a lot of I need a plumber, I need a house cleaner, I need a whatever. You're getting that local business, but also that recommendation from your neighbors of that business.
Mm-hmm. And what's great about the audience we built in Keep Local Alive is they're genuine supporters of these businesses. So they're very proud to be able to kind of say like, hey, I know this business, so you should try them as well. And I don't think that's something that no one's ever really excited about recommending Kohl's, but if you recommended this kind of hole in the wall, no one knows about it, it's your discovery, and now they're proud to share it, and it's great.
Definitely.
Yeah, you brought up Yelp, and it's interesting because we have been batting around how we want to describe what we're trying to do. And I'm scared. I've always scared of saying Yelp because small business owners are like, oh, Yelp, just what you described, like, Bill. What we want to be is we want to be what Yelp should have been for locally owned independent businesses. And all we're going to do is just put a layer of technology over the top of it to help you find these types of businesses at your fingertips. Download the Find Yocal app and just know that every business in there is locally owned and independent, and it's been verified. So I'm glad you brought that up.
So you guys have also been doing, I can't remember what you're calling it, but different, like you'll focus on different businesses and, how are you guys deciding, what businesses, what is it that you were calling these, like when you do that?
Go ahead, Kim.
Locally owned businesses?
No, like what were you calling
Is
it
that what
when
we're talking about? Sorry.
you do like when you guys do like like you'll say, let's go to this business, like
Boost.
to help them out, or what do you call a boost? Okay. So how do you
Boost,
guys
yes.
decide, who you're going to boost or why, what's involved in that part of it?
So that's actually the role that I first took on as an ambassador. And that portion is what makes Keep Local Alive unique as opposed to other support local groups. We're taking those words and putting them into action. And one of those things that we do is the boost. And we find those businesses either through them messaging us and asking, maybe we hear of something in the news, something happened to this business and they could just use a little love. I think the first one was at Rocco's, right, Bobby? And Rocco's, we did Sonora and Brunch Company, which I think really made a big impact there. So basically all we do is in that week, the week before, we kind of just let everyone know that this is our target and this is where people should go to support them and kind of let them know that Keep Local Alive is rallying around them.
And what are the responses that you're getting from businesses? Like are these booths doing just that? Are they like, wow, like it boosted our business that week and it kept going, because all of a sudden when you go somewhere and you enjoy where you eat, you're telling your friends about it and their friends and you're taking your friends. So hopefully it trickles,
Well, Bobby, I'll let you take that one.
Yeah, it has been, let's just put it this way. I could probably pick up the phone and call at least 10 businesses in Omaha and 10 businesses in Tucson that would say, Keep Local Alive kept my business in business, because it's not so much yet. Well, it is. It's a little bit of the financial side of things of giving them support for those 2 to 3 days, but it's more so the exposure that they get, right? From like what you're saying, people just didn't know they existed. A lot of people know of Rocco's, but they didn't hear Rocco's. He had a horrible time. And, it was during COVID, so people wouldn't go in there, but they were buying gift certificates, they were getting delivery. So yeah, I've got a whole list of businesses. And that's really what this was about. And Kim stated it. It's about taking action. Let's figure out. And these people are on a text chain. So we can send out the text to the boost crew and say, all right, crew, here's the business this week. Let's go support them. And those are going to keep going, because this isn't, the struggles that these businesses are having it's not over. In fact, I would argue that it's probably even more daunting to them with staffing issues and supply chain issues. So we're doing everything that we can to keep that momentum going.
And the difference between the beginning of COVID to now is that support has kind of fizzled out a little bit, right? Everyone was very gung-ho about shop local, support small in the beginning of COVID, but now it's kind of stretched out a little bit and it's starting to fizzle out. However, the problems are still there. Businesses are still struggling. So that's kind of what we're trying to remedy a little bit and help out.
Definitely. So let's transition. Well, actually, so let's explain that. So Bobby, if you're, I don't know if you're based out of Omaha or, but when you started this, with your co-founder, it's in all these different cities. So obviously, when you go to Keep Local Alive, it is so local centric. Like, it's a Tucson thing, because they know, it's something when you live here, you just know there's some very Tucson things there. It's not like it's from an outsider. So can you kind of explain, like, even though you may not be based here or from here, like what these local ambassadors, how are they acquired? What is their role exactly and how that works?
Yeah, you hit on something very, very important to what we're doing. Yes, I don't live in Tucson, right? We are based out of Omaha, Nebraska. That's our headquarters, if you will. But these groups, and we intentionally did this. I mean, Dave and I spread this out to 68 cities, and some of them took off a lot faster than others. And it gave us an indication of what the local vibe was like, if you will. But the most important thing that we did was finding people like Kim in these communities to hand it off to the local people to run it. We put the groups together. We took the time to do the marketing, get people in there to understand that this is really what we want to accomplish in these groups. But then you hand it off to local people to go run it and make it happen, because that's the most important part of this. And I'm glad you brought it up, because it does happen. They're like, well, wait a minute, you don't live in Tucson. I'm like, I don't. But these groups and what we're trying to accomplish, and it's local people like Kim and the rest of this team that are out there making this happen. And it's that local impact that really makes us all work. If it were just Dave and I trying to do it, it would fail.
Right. And that's a great thing they did, is they implemented the system that helped us locals get involved and really push it and help it grow the way it has.
And I'll be honest, it was a lot of real estate agents to begin, because they're really hyper local. They're in the community. They've got time on their hands. They love what we're doing. So it was just reaching out to people that seem pretty local minded. And then it kind of spread from there. We meet people like Kim and Sydney and others. And you get the right people involved, and kind of takes on a life of its own.
Well, and I think as well, like you mentioned, Kim, you have your own business. So this is not your business, of how you make money being an ambassador for, Keep Local Alive.
Yeah.
Like this is something that's a passion project in a way, I guess we could call it for you, because of your love for Tucson. Is that the case for, other ambassadors that are doing a similar role as you?
I would think so. I think to be an ambassador and to be willing to kind of spend the time and the energy to post and to hold these booths, you really have to have a love for local, and you need to have a knowledge of local and how to reach people and what businesses to support. So a big part of me joining was kind of the conversations I was having with other small business owners and not being able to reach new customers and things like that. And so when I first got on Keep Local Live, I never really mentioned anything about butter and flower pies. I just really pushed the businesses that I knew and that I loved. And in turn, it kind of, people were like, who's Kim? And then they would go to my page, and then butter and flower pies kind of got that traction as well. So by supporting others, I was really able to grow my business as well.
It's amazing, as it should be. We give, we get. That
Absolutely.
beautiful process. So Kathy Scott in the chat had a couple really good points. Kathy, do you want to unmute yourself and maybe share? There you go.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Hi.
I'm a longtime Nogales resident now, but grew up in Tucson. And we get the local Tucson TV channels. We subscribe to the Arizona Daily Star. And I'd like to see the word local expanded 60 miles to the border, because for one thing, just personal, I have a very old house and the pipes are not great. And I see on the news, call Cummings, and they'll come in and put this thing in and save you hundreds of thousands of dollars. But they don't want to travel an extra 30, 40 miles. So I would like to see local with these businesses. I know myself and my neighbors. We would either drive to Tucson or ask some of these people to meet us in our areas. But local isn't just the square miles of Tucson.
Absolutely.
And I think that your business could really help thousands of people that live south of Tucson.
And so I guess, are there restrictions on the site? Like, is this, just Tucson, or could you go on Keep Local Alive and, ask a question? Because I know there's moderators, I'm sure, that are keeping track of, who posts what and whatnot. So is that allowed? There's Benson, there's Nogales, there's all these, Sahuarita, Green Valley.
Well, I'm out in Vail, so I wouldn't necessarily, I'm not in central Tucson or anything. And what's so great about Keep Local Alive is there's such a huge demographic of people from all over Tucson. So if Kathy were to go on there and ask for recommendations, I bet someone in there can help her find someone who's more so in her area. And again, that's another problem, is she probably doesn't know that there are local places near her. And from just being on the group, she could discover that.
Well, and I would hope, just by seeing how the platform works as well, if you were to go on Keep Local Alive, Kathy, that if you put, I'm in Nogales and I need a plumber, hopefully those plumbers in Tucson, they're going to say, I go there or I don't. Because I can relate. I lived in Benson for a long time, and there's not always a local company. And so we needed Tucson, but some don't travel. So hopefully the response you would get on there would be ones that are willing, to come to you. So it still could be of a help.
Yeah, and I'll just say this, like we're, for these groups right now, we're finding our kind of our sweet spotters are in places like Tucson or Omaha. They're not like, Tucson's separated from Phoenix, Scottsdale. It's got its own little vibe, but what's happening is we are sprinkling out to these other areas. And that's the whole part of the technology. Let's use this app that's geo-tracked, where no matter where you're at, if you're in Vail or you're in Nogales, it's going to pick up where you're at. And any of these businesses, you're going to be able to find that, and you'll be able to go right into the app. And if you want, it'll be a later iteration, but you're able to ask a yokel, like a Kim. Hey, I need a good plumber down here in Nogales, right? So there's going to be a lot of opportunities to find the local businesses in your area, and no, we're not being discretionary about where we go. This should go everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
So Ken, if you want to go ahead and ask your question, and then we'll transition a little bit more into specifics about Yocal after that.
Sure. I was just wondering, how is Boost related to quality, if at all?
Quality of the business, Kent?
Yes.
I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say that we are the judges of quality, because just because maybe I am not a fan of a certain thing doesn't mean someone out there won't be. So a big part of the boost is just making sure that that business gets the audience that they need and could reach in that time. And it would be up to them to decide the quality.
I guess that does open up the question of, let's say that somebody posts, I'm searching for X, Y, and Z type of business, but it's like, man, I've had some bad experience with that business, and so, if people are recommending a particular place, like what I've liked about it is because along with the recommendation of places is that I'm kind of also getting a little bit of reviews of like, we had them and they were great. And so in the moderating of that, is that something that's moderated out?
Negative reviews?
Yes.
So we do try to make sure that a lot of it is positive, because just because you have a bad experience doesn't mean that it's an overall representation of the business itself. And I think that's something that a lot of business, especially small businesses, go through, is that they make one mistake and all of a sudden that person will just say, no, I won't go there. Whereas if you think about a big business that you go to, like how many times have you gone to, say, Walmart and had a bad experience, but you still keep going, right? And that's not something that small businesses really have. Like if one person has a bad experience, they'll never go back. And there's a problem there. People are very hard on small businesses when they really shouldn't be.
No, I think that's fair. And, I know like for myself, I not that we're comparing, but when I see a Yelp review and it's really negative, like my first thing is I go and I look at that Yelp reviewer, because I'm like, and most times I would say probably 99% of the time, that Yelp reviewer hates everything.
Absolutely. Yes.
And so for me, I take that review and I'm like, yeah, okay, whatever. That means nothing to me then, Whereas if somebody goes and I might take a little bit of weight with it and, but I think that's fair. We're really trying to be for the small business. So
how do you relate to Emily's List? Is that the name?
I don't know. I haven't. Emily's List, Bobby?
The Angie's List?
Angie's List? I don't think we have any relation to Angie's List.
No, I think similarities are just recommendations. I don't know if Angie's List is purely locally owned and independents, but it serves that portion of the function of connecting people to independent businesses they're looking for. But we don't rank any of the businesses. There's not a preferred list for Yocal or anything of that sort. But Kim, you brought up a really good point, and I want to make this is here's one thing astute locally owned independent business owners do want. They do want the negative feedback. They just don't want it on a platform where everybody sees it. But if you give that to them personally and say, hey, listen, this person came in, this went on, there's nobody they want to be more pleased than their customers, and they will do whatever they can to fix that. And that's what we're going to be doing through a lot of our Yocal guides and things in the community, is because those owners want that feedback. They don't want it blasted to them by somebody that's angry, but they would like constructive feedback to change or to fix whatever it might have been the issue.
Right.
So as we transition to talking a little bit more specifically about Yocal, I just want to make sure that everyone knows. So the Keep Local Alive is it's a social media platform. So the way to access that is actually through Facebook. So through Facebook, you can look up Keep Local Alive Tucson or just Keep Local Alive. You will find that in this group, you're just going to see posts of just, people having a great experience here. They had this fabulous meal. They've got the pictures and how amazing the food was, or, I'm looking for this kind of business. Or so in Facebook, you've got the awesome search feature. So sometimes you can find older posts that way, or post yourself, and Kathy, I'd encourage that. Even though you're in Nogales, there's people in Tucson that'll come to you. I mean, I kind of consider Nogales local, myself living here. It's just like Vail. It's, we're all one, it may not be Tucson specific, but so let's talk Yocal. What is Yocal? How do I do anything on Yocal? What is it? Break it down.
Bobby?
Okay. I'll break it down for you. All right, so great summation there. Keep Local Alive is a Facebook group. It's a movement, really. It's on Facebook. We're on Instagram. That's all about educating. Well, what Yocal is actually a technology platform, and there's 3 layers to what we're doing. The first is we're going to launch this app. I saw somebody put in there about the app. We're still in beta mode with the app. We're at about the 5-yard line, but we still got some hurdles to get over before we launch this thing. We want it to be good. But that is the very important piece of this is discovery. People are looking for locally owned independent businesses. Let's use technology to do it, because Facebook's not going to do it. Yelp isn't going to do it. And Google isn't going to do it, because they would alienate their franchises and corporate stores that they work with. So we're going to do it. So it'll be an app. It's going to be called Find Yocal. If you're an independent business in Tucson and you have brick and mortar, you can be listed in the app for free, but all independent businesses can eventually be listed in there. Here's the best part about what we're doing. We've got 100 businesses, 25 charter member businesses, Kim's business being one of them, and 75 founding members, I'm sorry, and 75 charter member businesses that are coming together. They're invested in Yocal. We've got a platform where businesses can invest. So they're bringing this to the Tucson community. So that's really exciting. And we're going to be using their their social media followings and platforms to really promote it. So that's the first component of it. And then what we do is for the right types of businesses, we install these digital loyalty and text rewards platforms. If you've been into Panera Bread or you've been into Starbucks, you'll see they have their little loyalty programs. Put your cell phone number in, your first name, your month and day of birth. Huge value in that, because it's all text-based. You can remind people that you're there, because I will argue that most small businesses don't shut their doors because they have an inferior product or service. Most of them shut their doors because they just don't get enough exposure, and they need to get loyal customers coming back more often. And there's no better way to do that than using text as a platform. So we install those, and we've already got a few of them up and going in Tucson. But then where the real magic happens with what we do is we call it cross promotion. So imagine, I'll use an example. Sarah, you're loyal to Beyond Bread, which they're going to have our program in there very shortly. You're loyal. You go in there all the time, check in 5 times, get a free cup of coffee, and suddenly you get a text from the owner. And it says, "Hey, Sarah, thank you for being such a loyal customer of Beyond Bread. Have you ever been to Rocco's Chicago Pizza? Well, if you've never been there, here's a large pizza on us. Thank you for being our loyal customer and supporting other local customers." What's really cool about that is it's a no strings attached free offer. Put your cell phone number in, great. Head on into Rocco's, check in and get your free pizza. Well, guess what just happened there? Beyond Bread just rewarded you for being loyal to them by introducing you to another business. Now Rocco's has another customer in their database. So that's really where this magic can start to happen. And really what this does is it builds an ecosystem, a natural ecosystem with walls. I'm glad I'm on video, because I always do this when I'm talking on the phone, no one can see.
Nobody gets
Yes, it builds these walls, and these walls are all of these businesses and consumers that are interacting, and the walls keep the chains and the big corporate stores out, because we will never put a loyalty program or any of these in any franchise. Not that there's anything wrong with them, franchise or corporate stores. So you keep building this group. And, I firmly believe, if you've seen anything that we've done over the last 15 years, I mean, Wall Street's decimated Main Street, absolutely decimated them. And, it's not like we're going to put Walmart out of business or any of these, chain restaurants out of business. But I think if business owners collaborate like we're doing, and then you apply technology over the top of it, I think, it can change the trajectory. It can change kind of the scales back in favor of local businesses. And it's not hard to do.
And it's really banding together these small businesses to kind of work together to get each other's names out there. It's not about competition. It's about really just joining together for the common cause.
Yep.
That's amazing. I like that idea of, somewhere where I go, like one, it's that personal touch of like getting that text message, even though, yes, it's probably auto-generated, but from the business owner, like he took the time, he's thanking you, but also, hey, check out this other place. Because to me, that says something about a business to not be, they aren't competition, Beyond Bread and Rocco's, they're not competition, it's like, it's all about the small business and the Tucson community. So that's beautiful.
I'll tell you a great story with that. So in Omaha, we have a coffee place called Karma Coffee, and they were one of our original founding members. And I went to them. There was another coffee bar that had opened. Two young girls had opened this coffee bar. And I went to them and I said, hey, are you guys okay if I bring Stir Coffee Bar on as a founding member? And their response was, why wouldn't we? Like, of course. I'm like, if we can get one person to stop drinking their coffee at Starbucks and come to us, what are the chances that they're going to try another local place? So yeah, exactly what you just said. It's fun to watch these businesses come together. I mean, there's 100 of them in Tucson coming together to make this possible.
So what is the goal date for this to be live? I know you're running into, I'm sure, every little issue as you get down to the wire. That's when all the things come to light that need to be fixed. But
yeah, and it seems like they're not real responsive over at Google and Apple right now. They don't they're not being real quick in their follow-ups, but we're really hoping in the next 2 weeks to have it out and ready to go. It's in beta mode right now. So you can see some of the businesses in there, but we'll have it fully functioning here in the next couple of weeks. Dave's the technologist of this co-founder partnership, so I got a lot of pressure on Dave right now to get this done.
So I am seeing a lot of, there's posting. There is a specific Yocal Facebook, site. So I'm sure that if we follow that, you'll be announcing the official, when it's up and running. And then also there is like the website for Yocal, which is that kind of a little bit of a preview of something of how the app is going to work?
Yes, the Find Yocal website is essentially what the app will look like.
Okay. Are there any features? I have it pulled up here. I could share, like, are there any features that if I were to pull it up, you can kind of, give us any insight, or is it still in that beta mode where that wouldn't necessarily be the greatest at this point?
Well, pull it up. We'll see what Dave has done in the last 2
We'll
or 3
find
days. Yeah, we'll find out.
Guess we'll find out with you.
Hey, don't let me forget, before we get off this call, I'm going to have all of you text a code to a number, and it'll give you a little example of what these texts, these cross promotion texts look like. Because Sarah, you said it. What makes this so magical is that it's just not, hey, if you've never been there, go check it out. No, it's the owner of a business that you're already loyal to, a picture of them with an actual offer saying, hey, thanks for being loyal. Go support this other business. So you mentioned it's a real personal touch, and it's not just going to happen automatically. It'll be, the owner will determine, all right, this is a loyal customer, I'll reward them. And then we have a little artificial intelligence that starts to kick in, and we realize, okay, this person likes coffee, they like this, and it's pretty cool.
Well,
All
and
right,
I think you hit on something that all of us can agree with. All of you Tucsonans here. Tucson is a bigger city, but it is a small town.
Right.
And so that is what we love about it. We love that Tucson is still a small town. And when I go to the grocery store or when I go here or there, I know my people, and they remember me. And that's one of the really cool things about a city the size of Tucson is we've still got that small town feel. And so all of these things are just contributing to what we already love and giving us better insights of like where to go or places that we might be missing. And that's just awesome.
Yep.
So this is the Facebook site. And then let's see, is everybody seeing my screen okay?
Yes.
Okay. So here is the Yocal homepage right now.
Mm-hmm.
So ideally on the app, would you need to so let's say what's a business we want to find?
You can put in a search. If you're looking for food, you can put in restaurants. You could, there's quite a few layers you can use to start your search. You can just type in food. It's geo-track, so it's going to pick up where you're at in Tucson, and it'll present you with the places closest to where you're at.
Oh, I wonder, it's picking up my neighborhood. There
There you go.
you all know where I am. Oh, and one of my favorite places just came up right at the beginning.
Dates.
Let me sign in. Yep, Nate's Italian Kitchen.
There it is.
You want some good pasta, man? That's where you go.
I haven't been there yet. I've heard great things though.
Nate's Italian.
You know what? And we drove by it forever. Like it's just this small, unobscure, place, but their food is good.
And that's just it. It doesn't take much. There are so many places. Like I was talking to Ray Flores, of the Flores family, all the restaurants. And I'm like, Ray, Tucson has become so transient. Do you know how many people don't know that El Charro exists? Like, yeah, it's been there 100 years, but they don't know it exists, right? Because they just, and like you were saying, you drive by it, but it's like, oh, I didn't know what that was. But this is the whole idea, is introducing people to these places and say, hey, I want to go check that out. And there will be a lot of iterations that we add to this, but these are the basic listings, but all the information you need in there.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie, this is my neighborhood. Like, so I know these addresses, but I'm embarrassed to say I don't know some of these places.
Right.
I've never heard of Sid Shakes. And I'm all about smoothies and protein shakes, and I don't know this place exists. So, that's amazing.
Yeah, Sid Shakes is actually, Sydney King is one of our, she just joined the Yocal team as our national ambassador for Keep Local Alive. And yeah, that's her company, another home-based company, another entrepreneur.
I'm doing this, I'm sorry to interrupt, but I'm doing this on my phone right now. And this is so much better than like, what are we gonna eat for lunch? Look at like Google Maps. This is way better.
Awesome.
Thank you. Yeah, and the best part about it is you'll never search in here and ever find a franchise or a corporate store.
That's amazing.
Yeah, there will be a lot of things that we add to this. I won't share too much of it, but the whole Ask Yocal part of this, let's say you're in a new community, it knows if you go into a new city, going to Omaha, Nebraska, and you land, and I want to find give me the best pizza place around. You can actually go in there and ask a Yocal, and it'll connect you with somebody like Kim that's in the area that can help you find the best of whatever you might be looking for. So yeah, we're pretty pumped about it.
Exciting. So let's see. So Debbie, she said she's looking on Facebook and can't find it. Let me share my screen again, and I'll share the specific Facebook site, Debbie, and maybe that might help. So, and you can feel free to unmute yourself, Debbie. So Yocal Tucson, or the handle is @yocal.tucson. So, and we see that you're announcing, let's see, I've been seeing a bunch of like charter members. So are these what you're talking about, like the 100 businesses that have, joined, and they're putting their money into making this happen?
Correct. Yeah, there's 25 founding member businesses that have both paid and invested through we're doing our capital raise through a crowdfunding platform called WeFunder. So not only these businesses prepaying for the services, but they're also investing in the company. So as we launch Yocal, it's being brought to you, and it's also being, these are the investors. And then same thing with the charter members. There's 75 of those, and they're doing the same thing at a different level. But yeah, we're gonna really make sure we're shouting out our founding and charter members for jumping on board, because most of them know of me. They've never met me, and here we are asking them to prepay for a product they haven't even seen yet. But that just shows how much need there is for what we're trying to accomplish in Tucson. And this is the Yocal Tucson group here, but if you go to, also on Facebook, if you go to Keep Local Live Tucson, that's the Facebook group itself. That's the one with about 16,000.
Yes. So Sarah, another thing, you kind of scroll through those charter member and founding member announcements. Eventually those will turn into introductions, and in introductions we'll kind of go over kind of the business story of those businesses, because that's where we get our name. Like Yocal, it's the Y in local. This is why we're supporting local businesses. So we will then get into introducing them and letting people get to know their story and why exactly we should support these entrepreneurs and their endeavors. So yeah, that's coming up.
I love that, because when you do decide to frequent, one of these, you kind of feel like, oh, the family, you were
Right.
introduced, like, that's who I saw. And that's just great, because I think they just as much as us will enjoy as we come in, I saw your story on Yocal, or it's, it's nice to meet you in person. And that's what I love about Tucson. And so this just enhances what we already love and makes it a little bit easier to get those local things.
And part of it is we would want to see someone who's maybe thinking about starting a business to read these stories and really see themselves in it and be driven to start their own, and hopefully that just keeps going.
Yeah, and seeing the support that's there, because before some of these platforms, that is it. How do I get my name out there? How do I not spend thousands of dollars on marketing and advertising and let people know I exist, or what if you're in a location and on Broadway where there's been construction for the past 2 years and nobody can drive to get you easily, those are things that affect your business.
That's certainly been Rocco's nightmare for a while.
Yeah, we're all praying for that to be done.
Supposed to be done. It's supposed to be done here, March is what he said. So we'll see.
So they say. When I decide to brave Broadway past a certain point, well, I don't know how long it's been this weird jog avoiding Broadway, but I don't think I'm the only one with that here, guys. So there was something you were going to point out, Kim, on the Keep Local Alive, or did we kind of cover it? Or
I think we covered it.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I hope, let's see, Debbie. It says, if you may want to see if you can cross-reference misspellings. Okay. Is Wild Birds Unlimited a member? Oh, okay. I would assume that eventually, so her question is about a specific business, but even though, let's say this particular business, Wild Birds Unlimited, maybe they haven't contributed to as being like a founding member. Eventually this platform, it doesn't matter if you're a founding member or not, it's going to have everything in Tucson that's a local owned business, correct?
Yes.
Correct.
It'll
Yeah, the
make
only
its
thing
way
we're going to
into
ask of these
registry.
business owners is that they claim their listing, because we want to make sure that owner, let's say it's Birds Unlimited, I don't know that owner, but we want to verify that owner lives in the Tucson community. If we verify that and we can confirm that, they're listed. So you answer your question, yes, everyone can be listed. I just got that now. I'm reading that. I'm like, oh, you mean if you misspell Wild Birds, it'll still bring you? It should. I think, trust me, Kim knows this. I misspell a lot. So yeah, we'll make sure that's okay.
Hey, and everybody thinks reporters, have great spelling. No, we have editors for that. So we don't even know how to spell. So we're not even going to claim. All of us have autocorrect and spell check and.
Good. I fit right in.
Yeah. No, but that's a good question, Debbie, because that can be frustrating if you think, especially here in Tucson. I know I'm not originally from here, so some of the spellings of things were very different to us, like Houghton Road, or, some of the, Spanish based or Native American based, words. We didn't really know how to spell those. So it was kind of an adjustment, Gila, we just didn't know, but we learned. So, those spell things. All right, so let's see, what am I not asking you guys about Yocal and Keep Local Alive? Or I'm also kind of wondering about what you're hearing from businesses. I was talking to Kathy Birch, who one of our reporters who did an article with you guys or about you guys back in June or July. And she was wondering about the feedback you're getting from local businesses as far as the struggles with supply shortages. And because, we're seeing it as customers, we're like, why are the shelves empty? So if we're seeing that, what are the frustrations that you're hearing from businesses of just trying to get stuff?
Well, just like you said, I think right now, I think Coralie from Guineas is a big one who she really like everything's the prices are just jacked up. So they can't especially meat, I believe, right, Bobby?
Yeah.
Prices are jacked up and so it's really hard to come by. So not great for businesses.
I've talked to multiple business owners in multiple communities, and what they're going through now is worse than what they were going through when COVID was actually shutting down their businesses, because this is staffing issues and supply issues. And Kim hit on it. These protein prices are so inflated, and then they're losing people, and then Omicron comes along and people are just gone for like a week. And these businesses are having to shut down. Let's all hope that we get through this here pretty quick, but it's real. The struggles are real.
Definitely. So I wonder, even though we hope that we're at the tail end of, the pandemic, but it doesn't seem like it in the last few weeks rather. But, when the pandemic first started, it became like a new thing for businesses to really advertise that curbside service or, contact-free delivery or, things like that. Are these things that are possibly built in? Because I think some of those are going to kind of stay around even after the pandemic. I kind of like the contact-free delivery, like I have my pajamas on. I don't even have to deal with somebody seeing me when I answer the door, So, I mean, are these things that are kind of like built in?
Yeah.
I think so.
Oh, yeah, go ahead, Kim.
No, I was going to say, I think so. It is just this new opening of convenience, right? And so now that people have discovered it, I have a hard time seeing it really go back to exactly how it was before.
I will say, I think a lot of businesses, there were a lot of positive that came out of COVID. And one of them was the pivots that a lot of these businesses had to make. I mean, some of them changed the dynamics of their business to accommodate and did well and did better than they ever had. And yeah, I agree with you. I guess it kind of forced a little bit of technology, but a little bit of a pivot on these businesses to make some changes that they probably need to make anyway. Like a good website that people can actually order from is a good start. So yeah, no, I think it's helped for sure.
And so on Yocal, it will have like, so once we look for whatever we're looking for, food, handyman, whatever, then it'll say like a business name, contact, website, like what information does it have about the business?
Everything that they want. They can put any links in there. They can take you to their Facebook page. They can take you to their website. They can take you wherever you want to go. It's just like a fully functioning app. Once you get in there, wherever they want to take you, we'll build those links in and they'll take you there. And what you guys are saying earlier, I'm encouraging all these business owners to do an owner story. Put a video in there. People will watch this stuff. Like you said, I may not know the owner, but if I walk in and I saw his video or I saw her video, I'm like, oh, there's this connection, and I don't know the exact date on it, but there's this connection that's made when you actually have a connection to that owner of that business and they're there. I can't explain it because I don't have that, but there's something there. But yeah, so to answer your question, they pretty much anything they want to put in there, they can.
And is that dependent on ones that decide to opt in and be like a paying, I don't know if you want to call it subscriber, but eventually, we had said everybody that's a local business will be on there. So will the information provided kind of be a little bit dependent on that? Like whether I don't know how all that works.
Let's just put it this way. No. So their base listing, they can still put links in there. We want to make sure that customer, when they find that business, they can go where they want to go with that business. Will charter and founding members have a richer listing? Will you know who they are? Sure. We're going to make a little seal. We're going to designate them as such. And we're going to, we'll be shouting out those businesses because frankly, we're asking quite a bit of them to make this happen. But yeah, to your question, the base listing it'll do what it should do for people.
Very nice. So let's see. We have a couple questions. So Brian, do you want to unmute yourself and ask your question? I always think it's better when it comes from you guys than me. There you go.
Yeah, I was just looking at what is your criteria for local? Isn't like just one shop or a local chain that does not extend beyond the city, or maybe it goes just to the next door city, that kind of thing. Maybe it crosses the state line just right here. I don't know.
No, Brian, that's a great question. By the way, you made me laugh with that. Omicron is making 2022 into 2020.
Kind of where we are.
Yeah. This is one thing we've been very specific with since the beginning, and it's probably one of the most, I won't say argued, but debated topics within these groups. So if it's a, trying to think of one, if it's a franchise that's
Mhm.
started, like I hope Kim's business, I hope it becomes a franchise. That means she's got a product, a service, and it's replicatable, and people can take this other places. If it started in Tucson and the owner still lives in the Tucson community, we will support that franchise, no matter where it's at. A great example, I know Amy's Donuts. I thought Amy's Donuts was local to Tucson. It's not.
Yeah.
They're in Colorado. So that's kind of how we defined, it doesn't matter the size as long as that ownership, because the whole idea is this. If that owner's in the Tucson community, we know that they're maximizing the rate of return for the dollar being spent at that business and more of it staying in that community. So that's
Sure.
the line that we've drawn.
Yeah, I was thinking of something like EG's or, people local here know them. And similarly, was it Bash's Supermarkets, Arizona only? It's like,
Yeah, but isn't EG's, now I don't remember the exact conversation, but wasn't it bought by a corporation that's based?
it was, but it's still being run under its own name locally. And so it's not like they're taking it everywhere. It's really only just expanding to Phoenix right now. So.
Yeah, there was a lot of conversation about that one within the group, and it was determined that because of the headquarters is based somewhere else, the dollars are leaving.
Right. And so it's kind of a really gray area, but yeah.
Good question.
Yeah, I think EG's is such a big one just because it's have you had an EG yet, even though you don't live here? It's just kind of when your family comes to visit in the summertime, you take them to get an EG, the French fries with the ranch. It's just one of the things that you do. It's a Tucson thing. But yes, I mean, it has been bought. So it's tough. Those are tough decisions for you guys to have to make. And you're never going to make everybody happy because there has to be some cutoffs at some point.
As long as the criteria you use is pretty clearly defined such that people aren't, in a constant argument over it, I think you'd be okay.
Yeah, and that's why we've held pretty stern to it. And I'll say this again. Franchises are great. People get into franchises for all different kinds of reasons. I have no issues with that at all. We're just choosing a segment that we think, number one, is the most vulnerable, but two, we want to encourage entrepreneurship, right? We want these kids coming out of wherever, high school, grade school, college, to see these independent businesses thriving. Because you see them all closing all over town. What motivation do you have to go start your own business? I mean, why would Kim go do that? I'll go work for a corporation. So yeah, there's a lot more to it. And I think we try to make that very clear on the front end. And like I say, I talk to these franchise owners, says, hey, nothing personal. I know you live in the community. I get it. But I do also know that a portion of your profits and your royalties are also leaving the community, and they're not coming back.
Right.
So, but I appreciate that. And I think people, once they understand that, they respect it.
Good. Okay. No, very good. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for that question. And then let's see, Debbie asks in the chat, are you still accepting new businesses, or will there be a pause after the charter members?
Great question. We just discussed that today because I think we are almost filled up with charter members. So there will be a pause. We've got I hate to use the term circle back, but we got to circle our wagons here. Now they've got all these businesses. We got to make sure everybody's set up the way we want. And then we will be going back to what we call early adopters. But as we all know, when this launches and it goes and there's all this media and everything behind what we're doing, that's when everybody's going to want to be a part of it. Mm-hmm. But if you've got businesses that might be interested and you think they'd be a good fit for this, I would certainly be happy to talk to them.
All righty, so we are winding down on our time. So I know you had referenced about us texting a phone number. So if we maybe want to get that in the chat so people can take advantage of whatever that's going to be about, but we want to be a part of it.
Yeah, so what it is I'm going to have you text something to Yocal, but what you're going to get is a series of texts, but they're examples of what these texts look like. So when these loyalty programs are installed in businesses, the first one you'll get is hey, thanks for joining. The next one it gets, hey, we miss you. Because if you go in there and you don't come back, he'll shoot you a text and say, hey, Sarah, we miss you at Beyond Bread. Come on in this week and get a free cup of coffee. And then it'll be another sample of what the cross promotion looks like. Super cool. So if you have your phones there, text the word Yocal, YOCAL, to 55678.
I feel as if I should have done this a long time ago, but
I always forget about it, Kim.
No,
I
I'm
think
doing
it's cool.
it.
Then once a business owner does it, they're like, oh my gosh. I'm like, yeah, that's what we're capable of.
So 55678.
55678,
Yes.
and then just text the word Yocal, Yocal. Then give it a second, and then you'll get a series of texts.
All right, I did it. So as our time is one, oh, and I got one. I got one. Let's see. I got one. Welcome to Karma Club.
So that is a coffee shop in Omaha, Nebraska. That's what they're calling their loyalty program. So if you walked in there, they'll have a little kiosk sitting there. You put your num in there. They'd ask you to join. Hey, every 5 check-ins, get a free coffee, whatever they decide to do. But that's their welcome. And then you'll get another couple of texts just kind of showing you examples of what a win-back text looks like and what a cross promotion looks like. There should be one on there for a movie theater.
Let's see. The next one I got, it says, thank you so much for got another one. Thank you so much for stopping by yesterday. I guess that's from the same same business. Yeah. Thank you for your loyalty. And then let's see. We miss you. We miss you hanging around here. Don't be a stranger. And then they're offering like a BOGO, buy one, get one free coffee.
Right.
Yeah.
First time gift voucher. Yep.
Exactly. And you'll get another one. You should get another one for a movie theater there. It's an independent movie theater. It's beautiful. It's basically a free movie for 2. But yeah, these things work. And they work because, number one, it's a business you're already loyal to, inviting you to check something else. And it's a high quality customer, meaning you're already loyal to one business in the area. You're probably already preemptive to supporting local businesses, and you live in the area. So they're very high value.
Yeah, I'll totally agree that it works. I mean, there's a local business in town, and she's been doing something similar to this for some time now. And it totally reminds me, whenever I get that text from her, I'm like, oh my gosh, I haven't been there. And I go, so it works on me. Maybe I'm an easy sell, but it works.
It's text marketing. I could share data with you till I'm blue in the face, but it works because 99% of texts are open in the first 3 minutes. And regardless if they use the offer you sent to them, what you just said, Sarah, they see your logo. There's another reminder. It's that little tap on the shoulder. Hey, I'm here. Remember me? Yeah, it works.
So Debbie had a follow-up question about when accepting new businesses, but so should she give you info of the businesses? So what is the best way for people to reach out to you? I think on the website, there's a contact us or what is the best way?
Yeah, best way is to get on my calendar. I've got my Calendly link. I think it's on, Kim, is that on the website? You know what? I'll just give it to you right now, right here. Yeah, have them get on my calendar. It takes about 10 to 15 minutes. And I can discuss what we're doing with them.
All right, well, you look that up. Is there anything that we have not discussed today that you guys are like, I need to make sure we know this about Keep Local Alive or Yocal? Like any last shout outs of what we need to know?
Well, I'll let Kim, go ahead.
I was going to say, are you focused on any particular type of business right now and then expanding further, or are you wide open right now?
No, you'll find, and I explain this to a lot of different business owners. I'm like, there's a lot of restaurants and coffee shops, and that's for good reason, because every day we're looking for food and we're looking for coffee. I'm not looking for a plumber every day, thank goodness, right? No. But those are the people that bring the eyeballs, and then you're found through that. So all types of businesses. I got to tell you, so the last 3-4 weeks being on the phone with all these businesses, I didn't even know what these businesses were. I could become like, and they're really cool. I'm like, you need to get your exposure out there. People need to know you exist. They can help. Like these float centers, I mean, that's some cool stuff. But yeah, I hope that, all types of businesses, as long as they're independent and, they're not B2B, but more B2C.
Maybe define that, Bobby. What is B2B and what is B2C?
Oh, business to business.
Mm-hmm.
What we don't want are businesses in here that are trying to get business from other businesses that are part of this. That creates a dynamic we don't want. But depending on what they do, we'll look at it. But more it's B2C. It's retail. A lot of home-based businesses were born out of COVID. I can tell you that, Kim.
Yeah, that was me.
And it's been a good thing.
Hey,
I will leave you with this. So, Sarah, you did ask the question. One thing I want to make sure everybody takes away from this is This is about businesses banding together to bring technology and a movement to the community. It's not about Dave and Bobby and Kim. This is about these business owners banding together saying, I want to be a part of this and I'm going to invest in this. I'm going to make sure this happens. That's the coolest part. I just gave myself the tingles talking about it, but that's the coolest part about what we're doing.
And the fact that there's this large number of them that want it to exist even before it launched is amazing. Yeah.
And definitely filling a need, obviously, that there was a desire there. And so that's why I think people are grabbing onto it, because they're like, oh, this is what we needed. We just didn't know how to do it. So they were looking for you and they found you. And we definitely feel both of your enthusiasm for, Tucson, for these small businesses. And we thank you for that. For everybody that's here in the chat today, I would encourage you to follow them on Facebook for right now. Look at their website. That way you're going to know when this goes officially live. But tell your friends about it. I mean, this is good for us. This is good for Tucson. So encourage your friends to check it out. And you're going to find a great little hole in the wall that maybe you didn't know about. And you'll get to go on Keep Local Alive and share your experience and food pictures about the great meal that you just had. But we thank you both so much. We know that you're so busy, especially with this launch of this app coming. I'm sure you're just absolutely crazy. So hopefully this was kind of chill and a break from all the crazy for a little bit. But we thank you for your time. We wish you the best of luck. And we thank all of you for joining us today. So once again, I'm Sarah Brown with the Arizona Daily Star, and Kurt Prendergrass, the opinion coordinator, or the opinion editor, not coordinator, of the Arizona Daily Star. And we thank you, and we'll see you at our next chat.